to stay.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond Boards, a podcast dedicated to the actions and interests of skaters beyond skateboarding. My guest today, TJ Rogers, grew up in Whitby, Ontario, where he started skating in the late 90s. Fast forward to 2013, after many years of being on flow for various companies and going back and forth between Canada and California, TJ officially moved to California and turned pro for Blind Skateboards. In 2021, TJ was officially announced on S Footwear and soon after discovered he had testicular cancer. But it seems like that didn't deter him one bit, as he kept putting out more and more amazing footage while simultaneously going through cancer treatment. After 15 years on Blind, TJ joined the Skate Mafia crew early 2024, and at 33 years of age, he shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. So here's my conversation with TJ. I hope you'll enjoy it. The very first one I have is from Emily the Keyzer.
Oh, wow. You talked to Emily.
I did, yes.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So do you know who that is, right?
Obviously. Yeah. Bobby's mom. Yeah,
that's insane. That's awesome.
I was listening to your 9 Club interview. I think it's in there that you mentioned that you stayed at Bobby's place for a little bit when you were growing up, when you were a teenager. And yeah, so she asked, she said, I want to know what TJ considers the best trick he's ever done and what made it the best. Maybe he could tell us a bit about where he was and who he was with too. I lived pretty much my best life when Bobby and TJ were young. We spent hours and hours at skate parks, competitions, and of course TJ lived with us for a while. So that's it.
Yeah, that's epic. Shout out to Emily the Keyzer, first of all. She's like a second mother to me. She's helped me out so much as a kid, so that's just crazy that she even hits you back. That's awesome. Yeah, so like my favorite trick that I've ever filmed, it's a tough one, man. I think one of the, I guess, more recent ones I would like to think is definitely, about a year after cancer, I went on that Thrasher tour, the vacation tour, where I did that big Switch 180.
Oh, yeah. The big, massive double set.
Yeah, I done like the 8 flat 9. That was definitely one of the ones that I was really nervous and excited for all around. It was just like such a cool experience, especially, going through cancer and then being back strong enough to like be on your board and you're with all these like pros that you look up to that are like killing it in the game. And, just being put on the spot. And I was like, damn, I've always wanted to skate this spot. And it was right across the street from the hotel. And we were about to leave. And I thought about it the whole week that we were in Vancouver. And, I decided to like kind of go for it early one morning. And, ended up getting it. And it's a pretty sick story.
Yeah.
We ended up driving right after that, like 6 hours to Kelowna. Like we pretty much woke up in the morning. Yeah, so I can describe the story a little bit better too.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I woke up in the morning, last day of the trip in van. We were driving to Kelowna, and I woke up at like 7:30. And I woke up. I went to go downstairs and just kind of like warm up, catch some sun rays and whatnot. And then I talked to, I seen a couple of the guys in the hallway, Sack Marf, Joe Brooks, and Rye Bears, I believe. And they were going to get coffee, and I was like, hey man, like I want to skate this double. They're like, you serious? I was like, yeah, like meet me there like right around 9, like I'll be ready. I'm like, okay. And then they called a couple people, and then some of the crew ended up showing up a little early, and I was just like listening to music, just jamming, like bringing the hype to myself, trying to trying to mentally prepare to jump down this massive gap. And I ended up just like putting on, what was it, Lenny Kravitz, Fly Away, and then tried it a couple times, and I think it was like 5th try later, I ended up flying away and landing, riding away, dog.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, it was wicked. Yeah, it was wicked.
Did you try anything else over that, or did you ollie it? Did you?
No, that's like a spot you don't really want to like ollie or like kind of fuck around with, Like there's been a couple people that have actually like broken bones trying to skate that thing and like hurt themselves really badly. To where I was stoked that I got off scot-free. I was limping a little bit just because of how big it was in the morning, but it wasn't too bad. There is so many stories though, so I don't know. There's a lot of good stories about me and Bobby and Emily back in the day too, going to a bunch of different skate parks and stuff back in the day, like she was mentioning, you know, like we would go and skate downtown. Like there's just so many memories.
Yeah, I'm sure. So when you were staying at their place, how old were you? Were you like a teenager, like 13, 14, around there?
So it was funny, not even funny. I was talking to Emily and Bob about this actually probably about a year or two ago. But I believe when it really, like when I moved in with them was like when I got out of foster care. I met them outside of foster care, like when I was a kid, still living with my pops. And then I ended up going to foster care when I was in like going into grade 9. So I was like 13. 13, almost 14. And then when I got out of foster care, that's like when I went and lived with Emily and Jack and like Bobby's family for a little while.
Okay.
Wasn't directly right after because I moved in with my dad for a little bit, but then I moved in with them for like probably about a year or so, maybe a little more, probably maybe 2 years off and on, you know?
Right.
And then, yeah, it was pretty sick, you know? I was really grateful for their whole family just to kind of support me and, you know, help me through those challenging times when I was a kid and I couldn't really defend for myself and the government wanted to try and take me away. It was hard, you know, but because I was out of my control on a lot of things, but it was nice that Emily was still trying to support me in like my dreams of skating and also like have somebody to like motivate Bob as well, you know, because Bob was also, again, you know, 4 years younger than me and like he could see the kind of hard times and troubles that I was going through and like seeing what he had, you know, that it made him appreciate things and, you know, kept him on his own path, you know. I think that's a pretty good testament of looking at Bob and looking at me, you know, like somebody that came from nothing and then somebody that had like such supportive parents. Like he was able to kind of choose and make his own path in his own way throughout his whole life.
Yeah.
I've tried to keep in touch with Bob as much as I can because I'm just so proud of him to see how far he has come since we were kids, you know. Like I remember meeting him when he was 6 years old and I was 10 and he was just starting to skate and he came to the Iroquois skate park, my local park, and I remember he did like a varial heel off the side of the A-frame and he had like a pretty like shitty board and I ended up giving him my old board that was a shorty Sammy Baptista board that had like the money symbols and like the diamonds all over it. I'll never forget it, white and black board, you know, like, and then I didn't see him for a while after that, you know, but yeah, I've known Bob's for so long and his family. I love their whole family.
All right, this next one I have is from Bill Weiss.
Oh shit.
So he asked a couple things. His first question is, ask him what Southern California donuts put Canadian donuts to shame.
Yeah, it's true. 100%. I mean, I think in America, the donuts out here are just way better. They're just tastier. I thought Tim Hortons was the best when I was growing up, and now that I'm out here, I'm like, fuck. Need to go get a fucking old-fashioned glaze from Donuttery down in HB, man. That place is the best. It's funny that we said that because I'll sometimes go to his house like back in the day and I'd bring him like a dozen donuts, you know. It was pretty awesome. That's awesome.
His other question is, what was it like winning the Dew Tour 3 years in a row?
Dude, that was like one of the best feelings ever as a in my early mid-20s, you know. We were always, you know, blind being on that company. I was on the team for 15 years, mind you.
Yeah.
But, you know, when we were on the team around those times, like a lot of people, like we were kind of like the underdogs, like in the skate game, you know, as Weiss would always say. And it was just super sick to just, you know, be able to skate with my squad and have the confidence in our team to be able to like persevere and like push to the top. I remember we won 3 years in a row, but like even for my section, because there's 4 different sections, for the viewers that don't know what we're talking about, the Dew Tour contest, it was a team challenge. And what it was there was 4 different teams on 4 different obstacles. So there was 1 section on tech, 1 bull, 1 rail, and then 1 gap. And for me, I was always on the tech section for 3 years. And I ended up winning the tech section 3 years in a row.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I was super stoked, you know, like definitely was hyped on that achievement for myself, you know, not only winning 1, but then 2, and then, you know, getting the three-peat, three-peat. Yeah, you know, it was a big accomplishment for not only like myself, but for Blind too at the time. And yeah, it was sick, man. I was super hyped on that shit.
So just to give a bit of context, so for the listeners who are not familiar with Bill Weiss, he was the team manager and
No, yeah. So first of all, Bill Weiss, just so if anyone that doesn't know who that is, he's the guy that back in the day would always do the naked 540s.
Yes, that too.
And he was the brand manager at Dwindle for Blind for over almost 19 years. Mm-hmm. And then up until early 2023. So yeah, he's been a huge part of like, you know, my life since I was a young kid, you know. He ended up putting me on Blind when I was about like 17 years old.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Was it him who approached you? How did you initially get on Blind?
Yeah, so how that kind of worked was, you know, I was getting flown boards through a distribution in Canada called S&J at the time, and they had the rights to distribute Deluxe. So I was getting like Real boards, Thunder, and Spitfire at the time, and you know, I was going through all the product pretty fast, and I wasn't selling it, and I needed more, and the distribution couldn't give me any more product. So I ended up like kind of sourcing my stuff out and sent it over to Morgan Smith, because like he was a pro that was like from my area that was killing it, and I always like looked up to him. So I thought it would be a good idea to maybe hit him up, you know, and see if he could kind of help point me in the right direction of like how to do it. And he sent my stuff to Weiss, and then they were super down. So, you know, Weiss ended up sending me a box of 8 boards, and I'll never forget it. I remember going through those boards like pretty quickly. And I filmed a bunch of footage with it though, and I hit him up for boards like probably like a month or so later, and I was like, hey man, like is there any way I can get a box? And he's like, yo, that was supposed to last you 2 months. And I was like, yeah, but look at all the footage I got. And he's like, oh shit. He's like, okay, I got you, I'll send you another box. You know, like, because he knew I was working.
Yeah, so yeah. It was worth the 8 boards. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I was stoked, you know. And then yeah, that's kind of what solidified the relationship, and we just like continue to build. Went out to California in 2009, January, for my first time. Stayed at Jared Lucas's house from Bones Wheels. And kicked it with, I went and met up with Weiss once or twice, I believe. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then shortly after, I ended up coming back down and then staying at Weiss's house. And, you know, the rest is history.
What year did you turn pro?
I turned pro in 2014.
2014. Okay, so it was like pretty much 5 years of being on Flow or AM.
Yeah, pretty much. Like almost like a little, almost like I kind of started getting boards in 08, near the end of 08. So it was kind of like almost 6 years, 5, 6 for sure.
Okay, so you've been pro for over 10 years now, like 10, 11.
Yeah. I've been pro for 11 years now.
Well, speaking of Blind, this next question is from a fellow Blind teammate, Kevin Romar.
Sick. Romar.
So he said, how was it doing a 3-man European demo tour every day for a month while you were on Blind?
He's a funny guy, man. I love Kevin. First of all, shout outs to Romar. Yeah, I mean, that was a fun little trip we did, man. I don't know if it was 3 people though, but yeah, it was a squad. We all went out there in 2013 for a tour, and we went to the Blind downtown, not Blind, it was the Vans Downtown Showdown. And there was like, again, it was like a team competition, and Blind was a part of it. And yeah, it was like me, Romar, Yuri, and then I think Sam Beckett. We all went out there as like the Blind team, and then, could be wrong, I think there might have been maybe 1 or 2 more people on the squad as well with us for some parts of the tour, but maybe not. But we ended up going to Paris and then Switzerland and Italy. Yeah, I had a broken arm at the time too.
Oh shit.
Actually, I had 2 broken arms. I had a broken knuckle on my one hand, and then I had a broken metacarpal, like my actual like my hand on my left.
Shit.
And I was like going out there with 2 casts. Yeah, it was a hectic trip. It was a hectic trip, but I was super stoked, honestly. Like, it was a really good time. My first time really like in Europe like that, so it was a cool experience for sure.
Yeah.
I still want to go back to Switzerland, you know.
Oh yeah.
I want to go back. Yeah, I've like wanted to go back to Bern and Geneva and Zurich so bad ever since, because I haven't been back. And one day.
Let's see. This one is from Michael, aka Dr. Purpleteeth, who is a filmer, right?
Hoops. Yeah, Hoops. He's a legendary filmer.
He filmed a clip of you at J-Quan recently. I don't know if it was the very last one I saw, the switch.
Big spin tail, big spin 270.
Yeah. That thing was just my mind exploded seeing that clip. But
yeah, so it's funny. I've been skating with Hoops for a while, man. So like he was like one of the first filmers that I came to California to film with, because he was staff for Dwindle.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So like when I first started coming out here and staying on like Ryan DeCenzo's couch, I would be skating with hoops all the time. And yeah, we went to Barcelona together back in 2015, and we actually filmed that same trick at Mokba.
Oh, okay.
So like not too many people probably would remember that, but me and Hoops were like, yo, let's pay homage, you know, like, so we did that one, and it was pretty sick. Yeah, it came out better for sure, and I was hyped.
Did that take a long time to do? Like, or is that something you can just pull out of thin air like that?
I mean, I don't know. It's like, it depends on how I'm feeling, I guess, you know. As long as I'm feeling good on my board, I can probably do it. But sometimes I don't really like doing the most like that, you know. Like, I don't like to do, you know, flipping in, flipping out all the time, or spinning. Yeah. It's just for that specific trick with the GoPro, how he wanted to film it, I was like, yo, I could do that. Like, let's do it, you know? So I just did it. But yeah, it's not something that like I'm going to go and film for like my video part. Like, I'll save it for the Instagram, you know? Yeah,
sure, yeah. Less is more, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, save the circus tricks for the Instagram. You know, keep it 100 in the streets, you know, doing my thing.
So anyways, his questions are, he said to ask you about living with him in Huntington Beach, and what was it like moving to LA? So he said to ask you about that, and also about Magnolia Cafe, which is a breakfast spot you would have breakfast at.
We never lived together, me and Hoops.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we pretty much like hung out together almost every day, but we never lived together, me and Hoops. But like we would kick it for literally every day, all day, you know. Like he'd pick me up in the morning, we'd go skate all day, and then he'd go home, you know, once it got dark out. Yeah, and but Magnolia Cafe, man, fuck, that place was awesome. Maria, shout outs to Maria. It's this one girl that we would always go get breakfast in the morning, and then every time like we would go there, Mike and we became friends with some of the waitresses there, and there was this one girl named Maria that we'd always just make jokes with and whatnot, and yeah, Hoops would always be like, yeah, I'm gonna go order the big pancake combo, and you know, just hop right back into bed after this. Just make all these dumb jokes, but yeah, no, he's hilarious. I have one weird thing. It's more of an inside joke, but it's a good one. It's making me laugh.
Okay, this one is from Don Brown.
Yes.
So he said, a lot of skateboarders and top athletes are driven by a mental need to be running from something or to something. Which one are you? What is it? And why?
It's a good question, Don. Very good question. I mean, I think for me, I'm not really running from anything. I think it's just more challenging myself each and every day just to, you know, be the best version of myself, like I said, and whether that's producing content or trying to connect with kids on another level, or just trying to, you know, do what I got to do. Yeah, that's kind of what I try to strive to do each and every day. But that is a pretty deep question, Don.
Yeah.
And it's good. But you should maybe just text me that one. I could read it over again too.
Yeah, I will. He sent also, to give a little bit of context, he said, the thought is often that people run from situations they don't like, and life is based on getting away from bad emotional situations. Or some are just built very goal-driven. I actually feel TJ is both. He's had a tough upbringing that psychologically forced him out of the house, and finding skateboarding connected him with a new positive family of friends. Then there's the Paul Rodriguez types who have been brought up with a silver spoon and mentored to be so driven and goal-orientated on life. Paul's life is driven by how do I not let my father down, where TJ's is how do I escape and run from the fear of being like those who raised me. But also with big heart and how can I make enough money to support the ones that raised me. I think TJ's answer will be both running from and to. He's one of the most prolific and goal-driven skaters I've ever met.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Don. And it's a good question. And, you know, it's a little bit of both, you know, definitely. I can't really say that it's, you know, just all
one over the
other. Yeah, you know, it's because, like, my life is very unique in its own way, to where it's like I have multiple different things that I like, you know, that's make me want to get out of bed and continue to keep going, you know,
sure.
Whether that's on the board or off the board. So it's definitely a challenging question to really like pinpoint the exact thing. But what I love to do personally is just skateboard, you know. I think that's pretty well known
Yeah.
that I just love skating. And, you know, it's just helped me get through some of the hard times that I've had and, you know, that I continue to go through, not only in my personal life, just on the board as well. That it's just, you know, just trying to adapt and embrace each and every moment and just trying to make the best of it, man. You know, we're all dealt with certain cards at the end of the day, Quentin, that, you know, we just need to learn how to fold our bad ones and, you know, keep our strong cards fucking strong, you know, and just keep moving forward. It's all we could really do in this life. So definitely learning about all of that and yeah, just trying to do better.
Okay, this next one is from Mitch Barrette. He said, maybe you can ask him about that one time when we were driving back from Miami to Toronto and he gave the finger to another car full of Hell's Angels looking people.
I don't know about that. That was probably when I was like 16, and I think the full context of this story, Mitch, thanks for trying to call me out, was they were like riding our ass in the car like super gnarly, and like I think Mitch did some like shitty driving at some point, and then I just kind of flipped them off being like, fuck you, you know, like stop riding our ass. And then yeah, I guess they kept following, you know, continuously after that and kind of scared us a little bit, I think. But then, yeah, they just left us alone and we just kept driving.
Okay.
But I was like 16 years old or something like that, 17.
Okay, this one is from Jordan Moss.
Oh, yeah. Money Moss. What do you got for me?
So he said, what's been the highlight of your career so far? One moment that stands out to you and is unforgettable.
The one thing that stands out to me most is the support that I have after beating cancer. You know, even I wasn't even really going for the SOTY run, but like people were all like kind of saying, like pointing like, oh yeah, you might get in the contenders, you know, and at first I didn't, you know, they posted it and then 4 hours went by and I wasn't like a part of the contender list. And then I guess I was on a flight, so I didn't even notice.
Okay.
And then all these guys were like, I got off the flight and I had like over 100 text messages and like all these people just, you know, commenting and DMing on all these different posts being like, that's so fucked up. And they ended up like adding me to the list as a contender. And just like that alone, just the support that I felt after that, it definitely made me like emotional, you know?
Yeah.
It was definitely like already a really hard time, and just to be like recognized at that capacity and yeah, it just really made me feel supported. And yeah, that was probably one of the more highlights for me for sure. Even though it was like a fucked up situation, but you know, sometimes those fucked up situations like put you in perspective and makes you appreciate the little things in life, which I've always come to have to appreciate, you know, because I definitely haven't had the best, you know, cards dealt to me, but I'm not here complaining about it.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Okay, this one is from Jon Cosentino. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah. Jon Cosentino.
Cosentino.
John,
yeah.
We always say Jon Cos. He's the good homie.
You guys traveled together across Canada on that Red Bull trip a few years back. Don't remember what the trip was called, but I watched the video.
Yeah, the Steady Pushing Tour.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So he said to ask you about getting rear-ended at a Montreal hospital.
Oh my God, yeah, that was awesome. Shout out to John. He's been killing it lately. Super stoked on seeing what he's up to.
Big talent as well.
Yeah, killing it. Yeah, so Steady Pushing Tour 2021, Red Bull and I, you know, teamed up and we did a 4-episode series across Canada where we went and seen different unique skaters and individuals and told their story about their life in skateboarding, you know.
Yep.
We're in Montreal and we were picking up my homie Will Marshall at Pilaf, which is like this one infamous spot that everyone skates. And as we were there was this guy that just like rear-ended us, and I like got out of the car and I was like pissed because we were just parked and we were like kind of like in front of a hospital, like on a roundabout. And I was like, I got out, I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, and the guy was shot. He got shot like a couple times, and I guess he like drove himself to the hospital and like kind of passed out like once he finally got to the front of the hospital.
Oh wow.
And he hit our car. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, it was insane. And then we ended up like
So
starting to
sketchy.
yell at
Wow.
started yelling at everybody, telling them like, yo, we got to do this, like, come on, get some help, da da da.
Yeah.
And then I think he survived. We like searched him up afterwards, and yeah, he was like in some gang fight or some shit, and like they shot him, and then but
Holy shit.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
Oh yeah. Damn. Where was he shot? Like in the chest or?
Yeah, like in the stomach, and I think like in the shoulder area too. I think he had like 2 shots or something in him.
Oh my God.
It's just
I was
funny
not
because I come up
expecting
to him.
that,
I come up to him so hot, like I'm ready to fight him. Dude already has gunshots in him. Like, damn son, yo, you need help?
Oh, my bad.
yeah, like fuck.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Shit was crazy.
All right, well, changing gears completely, but this one is from a legend in the game, Ronnie Creager.
Yeah.
So he said, what is your most difficult technical trick that comes to you with the least effort? Like your go-to demo trick to shock the crowd?
Switch big spin tail, big spin 270.
Yeah. We were just talking
like
about
a switch
that
big spin tail, switch big spin tail 270, or like maybe even a flip. I think those ones will definitely get like the people like, holy crap, because like no one can really do those ones.
There's one trick that I've seen you do a bunch of times. I don't see you do it necessarily all the time, but that you seem to have on lock is it crooked to nollie late flip out? Is that something you can do pretty consistently as well?
Yeah, I got that one pretty consistent, but I don't really do that one anymore. But yeah, I mean, I could do it. Probably just have to practice it a little bit, and I could probably, so that one comes and goes. Like I could do it first try some days, and then sometimes it was just not there, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not even gonna bother.
Yeah. Must be nice.
Yeah, fold it. Next trick.
All right, this next one is an audio one, so I'll have you listen to it.
Hey, Quentin. Got a question here for TJ Rogers. TJ, I haven't known you for as long as I have, gone on some trips, and, I've seen you grow over the past couple of decades. One thing I've noticed is that I haven't seen you stretch before, and you've done some pretty giant hucks that I've witnessed go down. And so I would like to know, as well as everyone else, is stretching is something you do now? And do you incorporate that into your day-to-day skate life? And if so, break it down for us. Love you, bro.
You don't even have to tell me who that is.
Yeah, do you recognize him?
Of course I do. It's a goddamn legend talking right there, man. Joe Buffalo, come on, man. Come on, dude. He's an absolute legend.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, so Joe was on that trip with me, that Steady Pushing tour too, 2021, I was a different beast, honestly, man. Like, and that's probably why I ended up getting cancer. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like, I was on one, So the stretching aspect of skating, I've definitely started to implement more now than ever. But even in 2021, I was still taking care of myself, but it wouldn't be to where everyone would see it. I would be like Rodney Mullen doing it like in the background because, I just did my own thing, I was never the kind of guy that was like, pushing it and telling everyone, this is what I do, you should do this, like I'm just kind of always just doing it on my own, Wake up in the morning, I'd be laying in bed, I'd be doing stretches on my knees and my ankles and like certain things, and like I invested into myself, a few years ago, probably right in 2020 specifically, where I bought those Normatec pants.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know what that is, but they're like the compression. More or less, yeah. They're the compression pants that everyone's, like all those like pro guys, have. That's used,
I've seen them over Instagram. Yeah. What do they do exactly?
They look like the space boots, that everyone wears when they go to like the Olympics or the fucking street leagues and shit.
Right. Yeah.
But pretty much what it does, it's like a compression pant. So it pretty much just like, there's multiple different benefits, and I don't know all of them off the top of my head right now while I'm going to explain this to you. But pretty much what it is it circulates the blood flow and the inflammation to where it just builds fresh oxygen and fresh blood into your legs, to where, you know, if you're on your board 8 hours a day skating, you know, and then you're just going to go and sit down afterwards, especially if you're in your late 20s going into your 30s, like you need to kind of take care of them, you know. You need to lotion that so you can keep the motion going, you know. So for me, taking care of myself is definitely, especially even after cancer, it's hit me even harder, to where I've been just trying to make sure that I just take care of that, you know. And like, I don't know, I have a bunch of different equipments that I have at home that I use on a daily basis, you know, just so I keep me going, you know. Like, I have this power plate that I stand on, and it's like a vibrating machine, you know. And it's like, I first used it when I went to physiotherapy with Ryan DeCenzo at this doctor facility called Dr. Dave. He used to work with Sheckler back in the day, worked with literally every athlete, you know. And yeah, he was a huge mentor of mine when I was young, like in my early 20s, just coming out to California, because I was learning about it, but I wasn't like, I was like, oh, I don't need to learn too much about this yet. I'm still in my early 20s, but like, it's noted what he's telling me. And like, what I did do at his facilities, I was like, damn, like this helped. I like this, you know? So, you know, throughout the years, I just decided to kind of invest into myself, you know, and buy certain pieces of equipment that will, you know, I could have for the rest of my life, and it'll keep me on my board going, you know, that extra 10%. And yeah, I mean, you got to think about it this way, you know, whenever you're like, damn, like those compression pants, you know, specifically, for example, they're $1,000. It's like, man, I've pissed $1,000 away at the bar in one night, in one night, that it's like, I'm gonna have these pants for the rest of my life, and it will help me in my career forever.
It's a good investment.
It's a no-brainer, you know. So for me, at that time, when I started to feel my legs kind of, you know, started to need a little bit more TLC, I decided to, you know, upgrade and just add some things into my regimen, you know, and it's definitely helped. And as you guys can see.
But do you have like kind of to bring it back to his question, like do you have like a stretching routine apart from those? Like do you do you do going back in the morning? Do you do that before or after skating? Like what does that look like?
So going back to Joe's question, like I definitely do stretch a little bit more than I did even a few years ago, but it's ultimately like whenever I feel like I need it. I try not to do it all the time and overwork myself on it, because I have friends that go to the gym and they lift weights and they do all these things and they overcompensate themselves. And, you know, I don't want to ever be in that position, so I try to just, you know, stay conditioned. Stay conditioned and do what I need to do, and just do it when it makes sense and when I feel like I need it, you know. But I definitely do stretches like every day, but just minor little ones, just to make sure that I'm like, you know, I'm feeling good and I'm like ready to go jump or do whatever I need to do.
Sure.
Go jump down a 20 stair. All right, I'm ready. Funny enough, but Joe's board is actually tattooed on my arm.
Okay.
And it wasn't even intentional like that. Like, I got the tattoo, and then I think a couple months later I seen Joe went pro, and his first board was a descendant from his tribe and his family heritage, which is the Cree Nation tribe in Canada. And the gentleman that we have representing that we're representing is Chief Poundmaker, which he's one of like the OG legends from back in the day in Canada, where he, you know, would build this pound, which essentially is like a corral where, like, you know, because back in the day it was so hard to kill the buffalo and kill the animals to collect, you know, food for the villages and the communities, that Chief Poundmaker ended up building this corral of like wooden stakes right near like a cliff, or not near a cliff but somewhere, and then all the natives would round them up all into this corral, and then they would be hiding behind posts, and then they would, you know, shoot and kill whatever they needed instead of just drifting them off of a cliff, you know. And he was like one of like the OGs that was like most well respected back in the day, and I guess like recently he was like caught on charges, I think 2 back in the day, but just recently in the last like 6 or 7 years since COVID, he was exonerated for all of his things that he was acquitted. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. He was acquitted all of his charges that were brought on him back in the day.
Right. Okay.
Tongue twister for me, because again, I don't really explain the story too much, but he explained it to me once, and it's just been embedded in my brain ever since, because he's definitely like, I am part native as well. So like, that's also why I have that. That's also why I have this tattoo on my arm.
I didn't know that. Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah. At the time, I didn't know what tribe I was in when I was getting the tattoo, but I like searched about the Canadian history of, Native Americans and Indigenous people and whatnot. And I learned a lot about Chief Poundmaker. And, that's why I got him represented on my arm, because he was kind of, the guy, and he just like provided, and so I've just always been trying to do the same, building my own corral, and trying to fucking help everybody out and do what I got to do,
Yeah, be an example.
Yeah, and just uplift and try and help other people too, So it's try and wear it with pride each and every day, And it's just so rad that Joe sent you a question in. That was rad.
All right, let's do this next one.
Hello, Timothy. What are your top 3 favorite cuts of steak and the wildest thing you've seen out front of the Royal?
Did you hear that okay?
Yeah, but I'm having difficulties of who that was.
That was Brandon Bandula. Is that how you say his name?
Oh my God, yeah, Beaster. Shout out to Beaster on that one. That's a good question. So, top 3 favorite steaks is the picanha, which is like a top sirloin with a fat cap, and then a tomahawk, which I had last night. Fire, and then I like to just go with a nice ribeye afterwards. It's nice. Nice 3-piece right there. And then the wildest moment out front of the Royal, there's too many moments, man. Too many. The Royal is a strip club right out front of my house that I grew up with my dad.
That's what he told me, yeah.
Yeah, me and my dad would go there every Friday and play pool and like have one drink, when I was like 18 or 19, sorry. Fuck. I've seen so many fights out there. I've seen so many crazy things. I don't need to really comment too further. It's a wild place after 2 a.m. You don't want to be there, let's just say that.
Okay.
But luckily, I literally lived, like, where it is. Like, I lived across the street from the Royal, and right beside the Royal was a taxi stand. So, like, I would be sitting up in my room, and I couldn't go to bed because on the weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like, it was always just so busy, that, like, I couldn't sleep. Yeah. So I'd always just be looking out my window, like, filming videos of, like, people fighting, like, drunk fighting and just, like, doing crazy shit, Like, I ended up even making, like, a YouTube video back in the day of, like, all these fights.
Oh, wow. Like, greatest hits from in front of the Royal?
Yeah, Four Corners, downtown. And so... Yeah, there's just been so many that it's just hard to pick a specific one,
All right, so this one is from Luke Lutz.
Yeah.
I think he did that Unstoppable TJ Rogers part that you put out a couple years back.
Yeah, we did a couple together, actually. We did the Unstoppable, we did the OG Respect, we did the Blind part too, that one on Thrasher. It was a VX part where I did like a last trick with switch manual, switch backside flip out on the up 3, down 3, right beside Soma part. Yeah, Luke's done a few of my projects, man. I love Luke.
Yeah. He asked a couple things. He said his first question is, do you have any funny stories with your dog BB while being out / skating with her?
I mean, I've definitely had a few, probably, but none that comes to mind right now that I want to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, yeah, she always comes out on the session, rocks with us. She's a goat. She literally is so chill every time, which is like amazing.
Yeah, very cute dog. Like, I've seen her on your Instagram, and she's pretty wild eyes. Like, yeah.
She's trying to tell you something, I swear. No, she's awesome. Yeah, she's great. Really fucking, she's a lifesaver, literally.
Yeah, she was the reason you learned you had cancer, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, like, my dog ended up finding or sensing that I had something going on down there, and she kept like hitting me
right
towards the testicles, and that's kind of when I was like,
you went to have it checked out. Yeah,
correct. And then that's kind of, you know, can kind of go through it real quickly. And it's had cancer 3 years ago. Actually ended up doing surgery February 10th 2022, and then from there ended up finding out I had testicular cancer, and then had to do some more like post-op blood work, and then 3 weeks out, and then found out that I still had like my blood levels were still slightly elevated, so they wanted me to come back in 5 weeks after. End up getting checked out, and then after the 5 weeks I ended up my AFP, which is my alpha fertile protein levels, were still really high. So they told me that I had to do chemotherapy. So did chemo, and it ended up consisting of 4 rounds, which was 5 days on of infusion, then 2 weeks off. And yeah, it was definitely a life-changing experience all in all, very grateful. Yeah, very grateful that I made it out alive, and I'm still able to like kind of push and challenge myself on and off the skateboard. So it's a beautiful thing, you know, and I'm just grateful to still, you know, keep doing my thing.
Yeah. And how's it going now? Like, are you still, I assume after going through that, you probably have regular checkups with doctors to make sure it's not coming back and everything. Like, what's the status on it right now?
Yeah, pretty much. I have to go back like every 6 months to go get checked up and whatnot, but it's been kind of challenging lately, just because it's been pretty challenging financially, having to pay for all of this out of pocket. As well as, you know, having your monthly overhead that you already have, you know. But try to go back to Canada to get it worked out, and it's it's quite challenging.
Yeah, I was just curious about that, because like I know in the States it's like how do you call it in French, it's la sécurité sociale, like basically health insurance is pretty much free in France, and I don't know how it works in Canada, but I know that in the States it's ridiculously expensive. So have you been getting your treatment mostly in Canada, or?
No, so I did my whole treatment out here in the States.
Okay.
Reason being, obviously, because I have a place here.
Yeah.
I don't have like a full place in Toronto that I could go live at and, you know, go through all that treatment at that time, especially when it was kind of just getting out of COVID, etc. So yeah, I ended up just kind of doing it out here. And then last year I was just going through some troubles, so I ended up going home just to kind of start trying to take care of it out there. But it was actually more challenging to get into the system there and like stay up to date with like the appointments that I ended up just deciding to kind of come back to the States and then kind of just keep going through the process out here for the next 2 more years, because now I'm 3 years cancer free, so I'm like doing well. Every 6 months I've been getting scans, every 3 months get blood work, so I've been staying on top of it. It's just, you know, challenging, like, you know, just the world with the inflation and everything, but nonetheless I'm just you know, just keeping it moving, not trying to get discouraged along the way, and, you know, just keep it moving.
Yeah, definitely. And so did the doctors tell you, like, suggest some stuff that you can do to, I don't know, this is kind of a maybe stupid question, but are there things that were suggested to you in order to prevent the cancer from coming back? Whether it's, you know, just obviously exercising, or maybe food you could favor, like, or different stuff like that. Did they advise some stuff that you can do in order to make sure the cancer doesn't come back?
No, not essentially. With the one that I had specifically, there's no real defining way of finding out exactly how you got it. It could be, you know, gene related. It could be from food. It could be from stress. It could be from multiple different things that you can't really pinpoint which direction it could be coming from. But, you know, I've definitely changed a lot of things in my lifestyle since, you know, I had cancer, and I've been just trying to, you know, be the best version of myself on and off the board.
So Luke asked a couple other things. He said, if you could live anywhere besides California and Toronto, where would you live and why?
That's a good question, Luke.
How long have you been out in LA now? It's been a while, right? Like over 10 years?
Yeah, so I moved to California 2014 April. So 11 years ago. And I mean, mind you, last year I kind of went away for like 6 months, like I was telling you at the beginning of the year, just due to financial reasons. But then, you know, I decided to come back, and reason being is I just love it here. The weather is just so consistent.
Yeah.
I got great friends here, and everyone in the industry is here, you know, that I'm working with, you know, that it just makes sense for me to be here. But if I wanted to live anywhere in the world, whether if it was in California or back in Toronto. I don't know. I could see myself living in New York. I could see myself living, in Europe somewhere. Somewhere beautiful where, I got a bunch of ledges I could skate year round.
Yeah.
But,
You were recently in Portugal, right? How did you...
Fuck, yeah.
How did you enjoy that? Yeah.
Portugal? Oh my God, yeah. I could live in Portugal for sure. The weather's incredible. The skating out there is so good.
Good food, yeah.
Good food. Yeah, it's a cheap place, I rented an Airbnb out there for 2 weeks. It was $1,100 Canadian. I was like, what the fuck? It's like $800 American for 2 weeks. I was tripping. Mind you, it's in January, so it's probably, not peak season, so there's no surcharges. Yeah. But still, dude, like, if I could get a place there, clearly, like, their rent is cheap, if they're going to rent it out like that. Like, you get a spot, man, damn. That's good.
I think that's why a lot of European skaters have been going. Like, obviously, Barcelona was a big destination for a long time, but I feel like Lisbon has become a big skate hub.
Honestly, Valencia too, man. I was just in Valencia as well, and I went to Portugal for 2 weeks, but I ended up cutting my trip halfway through because it was raining for the second half, and then we ended up going to Valencia with some of the locals from Portugal, and dude, Valencia is it's so underrated. Like, it's almost better than Barcelona.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. At least just because of the fact that all the spots aren't fucking, not everything's been done.
Blown out?
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, like, everything hasn't been blown out to where you can actually, like, do more. And you go to, like, a spot, there's just not 100 million people there. Like, it's
like Magba or,
it's like, I don't know. It's just a different vibe. It's cool. I like it.
And Luke's last question is, what is a song or an album you can always play and never get tired of?
I mean, Sade, that's a good one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Sade is really good. Anything Jadakiss. There's so many. But yeah, just those two.
Okay.
We can stop there. I don't need to go on a rant and tell you all my favorite bands.
Well, actually, that will cue us into the next question. You'll understand. Tej, tell us about your record collection.
Okay, who is it? What?
That was Dan Connelly.
Oh, yeah, Dan.
From the Mafia. Yeah, he said, tell us about your record collection.
Yeah, so, I mean, I got a huge record collection, as Dan just mentioned. Got probably like 2,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no biggie.
Are we talking about vinyls or CDs
vinyl.
Or both?
Yeah,
or?
Vinyl. Got a lot. And, I kind of... Long story short, I was at my grandpa's for Christmas one year because we always like go there every Christmas, and my uncle had a bunch of his vinyls stashed there, and my papa was wanting to throw them out. And I was telling my papa, I was like, yo, I just got a vinyl player. Like, is there any good ones? He's like, I don't know. I'm going to throw them in the dump, though. So I called my uncle, and I was like, hey, Uncle Donnie, like, could I buy your record collection off you? Papa's going to throw them out. He's like, sure, like $300. Or he said 500 at first. And then my papa was like so pissed. He's like, you're not going to fucking charge him anything. I'm about to throw these out. And, we ended up being, I was like, Papa, it's all good. Like, here, I'll give you $300, Donnie. How about that? He's like, sold. It's like, all right, sounds good. So I got like a huge collection, and I still have the photo on my Instagram. If you scroll right to the bottom of my feed, you can see the photo of all the records that I bought off my uncle. It literally bottoms out my homie's van, and yeah, it's crazy. Like it was like over 1,500, and then I've collected over the years as well, like being in California, and I've just bought a bunch as well, So yeah, I got a huge collection.
Wow. Is it kind of like all over the place musically, or is it mostly because I assume you listen to a lot of like hip hop, like some soul?
I listen to fucking everything, bro.
Okay.
Literally listening to everything, because like there's a mood for everything.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I was saying earlier. Music's so influential. Like people were saying to me recently, like, dude, your fucking iPod is like all over the place, and I'm like. Yeah, I mean, it's just, music. It's just, it inspires you and influences you in different ways to where it's like, I don't know, it's a beautiful thing. I love it.
All right. Well, this one is not much of a question. It's just kind of a shout out, I guess. This is from Dan Mathieu.
Mathieu.
So he said, I've had the chance to travel and shoot a lot with TJ over the past few years. We were just in Portugal together. Every time I shoot with him, I'm blown away by how good he is at skateboarding. He lands multiple bangers every session, and the stuff that would leave most people wrecked for a week, he makes look effortless. Then lines up 5 even gnarlier tricks. No question for TJ, just wanted to say I appreciate the guy big time.
Love you, Dan. I love you, Dan. Yeah, man, I mean, Portugal was a productive trip, man. Went out there with Dan and Will Marshall.
Will Marshall, yeah?
Yeah, I went out there with Will Marshall and then Jake Cormier, his homie that films him. And he skates as well. He's super good at skating. He used to film for Dime as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we all just went out there, and then Mitch Barrette as well. We all went out there for 2 weeks, but then the trip got cut, like I said, because of the rain. So we ended up going to Portugal as well. But yeah, no, it was epic, man. It was a good trip.
Okay.
Got a bunch of stuff, but TBD. You'll see where it goes soon.
Okay. This one is kind of a joint question because these guys asked about the same thing, basically. This one is from Cameron McIntosh and also from Daniel Goycoolea.
Yeah. DG.
He said, I have a question for him, kind of a crazy one though. We went to jail together in Mexicali.
I already knew it was a joy question when you said Cam and DG. Woo! So you want me to explain Mexico? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
I have the best explanation.
What jail in Mexicali is like.
No, it was epic, honestly. It was so fucking sick. It was the best fucking initiation into fucking mafia ever. Yeah, shit was awesome.
When was that?
So it was October 23. So yeah, I got back from Canada. They ended up hitting me up yo, let's go on a trip. We're gonna go to Mexicali. I was like, all right, bet, let's do this. And then we ended up going. We crossed through the border. We're there for 3 hours, literally 3 hours. And we're skating some spots, and it's almost 5:30, and we're I seen this spot, and it was a 9 stair that looked pretty decent, but we had to jump a fence to skate it. Mm-hmm. And I've never skated in Mexico, so I don't know the fucking laws. So we ended up skating, got the clip. Alexis got a clip as well, and then as we're leaving, we jumped the fence, and cops are there, and then they're start talking to us, and then instantly, they start searching the van, and then they put us all in handcuffs, and we're damn, we're gonna have to pay these guys right now, what the fuck? And then there's these guys filming us, and later on we end up finding out they're the principals, and they're the ones that called on us, so we ended up, they're trying to make a scene and try and get it on the news, yo, don't ever jump the fence, you know what I mean? And mind you, I'll go fast forward a little bit. The school that we ended up jumping into was the presidents of Mexico's high school, Okay. So it was it was kind of a monument,
Yeah.
And they thought we were they thought we were spray painting or breaking into the doors. They thought we were just doing something really bad, not just skating.
Yeah.
But anyways, we end up going to jail. There's 10 of us or 9 of us, but 2 of us. So it's me, Cam, Dan, Wes, B Money, Masaki, Raul, and then Alexis as well. That's 9, I'm pretty sure. And then we ended up, getting booked, but one of us was too young. Raul was 17, so he wasn't allowed to go to the right jail as us.
Okay.
And pretty much he ended up getting shipped to some juvie hall center, and we ended up getting processed somewhere else. And we get processed in there, we're chilling, macking, we're in there for 24 hours, 25 hours almost, Oh,
wow.
And by the time I'll skip the rest of the bullshit that happened inside of it because it was just wild. But then we ended up getting out, and we were literally got out at 6:30, 7 p.m. almost the next day,
Okay.
So we got out, like I said, 24 hours later. And I'll never forget it. We ended up going back to the hotel. We got pizza. We got some food at the hotel. And then we just ate. And then we left the next morning at 6 or 7 in the morning. So if you really want to do the math, with me real quick, and we were there for 3 hours, as free citizens until we got arrested. Then we were in jail for 24, 25 hours. And then we were only out for 12. And then we left. So we were there as free citizens for 15 hours. You understand what I'm saying? We were literally in jail longer than we were there as free citizens. How sick is that? Like, actually the best fucking story. Oh my god, yeah, it's so good. It's actually the best story. But
did you guys have to pay to get out? Like,
yeah. So we had to pay, like, by the time they were going to keep us there for another 24 hours, you know, because we were already in there for 24. And like DG's mom was helping us throughout the whole thing as well, because DG is from Mexicali, where we went. We didn't go to like Tijuana, where everyone usually goes. We went to Mexicali.
Okay.
So it's like 2 hours west of like the Tijuana border. And like DG's mom came to like the scene while we were getting arrested. I gave her all my jewelry. I gave her like all my shit. Luckily, because then like, you know, Misaki and some of the other kids didn't do that. And when we got processed, when we got processed, they just took it and didn't give it back.
Oh, shit.
And then they took a bunch of money from us, like $500-600 from Misaki cash, like a bunch of shit. And then we ended up having to pay 10,000 pesos to get out, which is like $800-900 American to get out. Otherwise, they were going to keep us there for another 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So then we ended up just going back home, and like when we got out, we were like, fuck this, we're not skating, we're just going to leave in the morning. Like we were debating on leaving at night, but we're like, we already paid for the hotel, we can't get our money back. Like, let's just eat and just relax. And yeah, we just chilled at the hotel pretty much, and then just bounced.
Wow.
such a shitty trip, but like, actually, but like the sickest trip at the same time, you know, like, I had some really good times with those guys in there. We were like doing some fun shit together, like cracking jokes. Just, it was a good time. Like,
bonding experience,
I wouldn't trade it.
Right there.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade it, you know, like I was super hyped on the experience. It's just fucking, I was just in it. I was like, here we go.
Let's see, this one. So this is from Wade and Scott Power.
Yeah, the brothers.
So it's a few questions. Wade asked, what is the worst bail you've had?
Oh, man, I've had a couple pretty bad bails.
I was watching yesterday, I don't remember where I saw this, but you did a nollie flip over a big set of stairs, like to the side kind of, and you fell on your arm and broke like some of your fingers or something, right? Or your wrist maybe?
Broke like 5 bones.
Right, yeah. That was a gnarly slam, yeah. That was not fun to watch, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely by far the worst slam that I've taken on a board, 100%.
When was that? That was not too long ago, right?
Yeah, that was like right before I got introduced to Mafia. That was December 2023.
So like a year ago, okay.
Yeah, that was fucking rocked me, dude. It rocked me pretty good, but stoked to be able to come out of that one too, you know. Like I said, I've been definitely challenged very heavily in the last few years that it's been one for the books, let me tell you that.
Okay, so this one is from Scott. He wanted to ask, at what period did you know you were going pro?
I think I found out I was turning pro right after this tour that I did with Blind, where we went up to Northern California. We did like a little tour out there, and I had just moved to California. I believe it was like June, around that time, maybe July almost.
2014, right?
Yeah, and then, you know, I kind of came into, again, some financial issues where I kind of had to talk to Weiss and tell him, like, hey, man, like, I need a little bit of more help, you know, if I'm going to be staying out here, because I already moved out here. And before I moved out here, Quentin, I was working construction.
That's right,
I was working construction where I was doing, like, you know, 9-10 hour days, like, you know, building houses or restaurants, or like doing demos, like demolishing a bunch of stuff and prepping everything to get ready to build, you know?
Yep.
It was like a heavy job. So like I would always do that. And then whenever I'd save up enough money for myself, then I'd go out to California for like a month or so. You know, that was just like how I did it. That was like kind of how I had to, you know? Like I said, I never really had the best cards, you know, like, don't get me wrong, I've been very blessed and grateful in the last, you know, in this whole time of me being where I'm at, you know, I've been very blessed. Like, they've definitely, you know, helped me out in so many ways. Red Bull the most.
Yeah.
You know, but, it's been challenging.
Yeah. But that's what makes your story so interesting as well. It's like the whole struggle to, you definitely worked your ass off to get where you are now. So I'm sure from your perspective, you appreciate it even more because you had to go through all that.
Well, fuck yeah. And I'm trying to embrace all the changes that are, put upon me. And I'm just trying to, do what I can, for the community and do what I got to do for everybody to make sure that everyone's happy, Because ultimately, like, skating's obviously not forever. I got to just, make sure that I play my cards right and just keep doing the best that I can,
Yeah.
On and off the board, essentially.
Bonus question from Wade. He said, what is your favorite video part?
Oh, man, that's a hard one.
My personal favorite one of yours is that one we talked about, the Skate Mafia
are you
one.
asking? You're asking what's one of my favorite video parts?
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. Favorite video part of yours, yes.
Oh, mine. I filmed a lot of parts over the years, and I'm not too sure if you know, but there's a lot of them up there. And I would like to think my favorite one, it's got to either be the TJIF. Actually, so like it's hard, because again, they all, like, every single one has a different meaning to me.
Yeah, sure.
P-Rod explained it to me like this once, and like this, it hit me, it resonated so hard. But he's like, every time you film a video part, it's like an album. You're dropping your album,
Yeah, that's true.
And like every album, you're going through something different. And, it fuels your fire in a different way to make that part come out the way that it does.
Yeah. It's like a timestamp, kind of.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's an album. Timestamp, it's an album, dog. And, the TJIF, I'll do top 3, Okay, TJIF, my OG Respect, because my OG Respect part was, I filmed that shit within 6 months after beating cancer, and I filmed it in 2.5 days. I went out to SF with, like, no budget, and I had to shoot my first colorway coming out, and I was I want to do something for it, like, I don't know what to do. So I just went out and fucking to SF, and I just filmed the part,
Yeah.
So, like, that was, like, another one for me. And then, the Mafia one, dude, that one meant so much, and some of the other ones when I was younger, don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm just forgetting my past and my history, but I think it's just this new change that I've embraced recently has been so life-changing and eye-opening that I've been just so grateful for this opportunity, because I'm learning a lot each and every day, and if you're not learning every day, you're not living right.
Yeah.
You always got to be challenging yourself one way or another.
Pushing yourself. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, trying new things, doing things differently than what your normal would be, because that's how you can truly define, like, who you are and, like, what you want to do.
Okay, let's do this next one. This one is an audio one.
Hey TJ, after all the places you've traveled, what would you say was your favorite place to skate street?
Who is that?
That's Dallas Ives.
Holy shit. Dallas Ives. Dude, so Dallas is the one that taught me switch front threes back in the day, man.
That's what I heard, yes.
Yeah, no, he's a legend. My favorite place to skate, and you could be there with me, Dallas. Come out to California, bro. No, I mean, my favorite place to ever skateboard, Copenhagen's epic. But I feel like that's a lot of people's places, I really liked Valencia. Like I said, they had a lot of different spots. Maybe just because I'm older now too, and I like challenging myself differently. Like out here in North America, we have such the same dynamic aesthetic spots. Like it's very hard to find like a ledge that goes into a bank or a bank that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it's like I could literally think of like 3 different spots right now in Valencia that's like a manual or a ledge that goes into a bank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just different skating out there. So for me, I love going to Europe nowadays.
Okay, this next one is from Lando Visionz.
Oh, Lando.
So he said, when is the last time you cooked beer can chicken?
Fuck. I've only cooked beer can chicken at Lando's house with his family. Shout outs to Deborah and Bill, his family, his parents. They introduced me to beer can chicken, and that shit was awesome.
What is that? Can you explain?
So it's pretty much just like it's a tradition that Lando always did on Thanksgiving and Christmas time. where they would buy like a whole chicken, and instead of putting stuffing in it, you would put a beer.
Oh, inside the chicken.
Inside the chicken. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a beer can chicken, you know. You'd open it up, and then like all the juices would go inside of it, you know. And it's just, it's really tasty. It's nice, you know. Like the chicken's not dried out like your typical, you know, when you cook it with stuffing. Like it's nice and moist. It tastes juicy. Like it's really good.
All right. This one is a short one. Let's see.
What's good for Tej?
Oh, Roman.
Did you hear that? Yeah?
Yeah, it's good for Tej.
Yeah. Did you recognize who that was?
Yeah, Roman.
I was told that was Wes Kremer.
Wait, go again?
What's good for Tej?
Oh, that is Wes.
I wasn't sure because Dan sent me this, Dan Connelly from earlier.
Yeah.
And he sent this and I was like, is that really Wes? Like I've never met Wes, but I've heard his voice, you know? And I was like, that doesn't sound like him. That's strange. But
What's good for Tej?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, Wes is a goddamn legend.
Yeah. And a teammate of yours.
Yeah. No, for real. It's so crazy to be on the same team as a living legend like him, honestly. He's one of the best human beings that I've ever met in my life. I absolutely fucking love that guy.
All right, let's do this next one.
Hey, what's up, DJ? Long time no see. It's been, 3 years since you came by the ranch? Man, it's crazy how time flies. I remember back then you were traveling with your air fryer in the car, and I thought it was so funny. Since then, I also joined the air fryer cult, so my questions for you today are you still traveling with your air fryer? What have you been cooking lately? And when are you coming back to chill at the ranch? So thanks, Quentin, for reaching out, and hope to see you guys really soon. Bye.
Oh my fucking God. Sam, P45,
Yes.
the ranch. Holy
Sébastien
shit.
Petit, right?
Yeah,
From Skateboard Ranch.
Goddamn legend. Oh my God.
He was also on that trip we talked about, the 2021 Red Bull trip.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, we did a piece on him, man.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, he was a unique individual piece. He has a skate ranch, man. And when I was there, he only had the little mini ramp, and he was starting to build some other stuff and like kind of cut out trees. But to be honest, I haven't kept up with him, man. I it's such disrespect on my behalf. I apologize, Seb, if you're listening to this. I'm gonna have to check in with you soon and just catch up and see what else you've been building, because yeah, man, that shit was epic when I was there, and I did have my air fryer. And to answer the rest of that question, I do not travel with my air fryer anymore.
Okay.
I was cooking with the air fryer heavy in 2021. I still do to this day, like sometimes, you know, for certain like meals that I prep and cook.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I was on like a certain diet when I was in, you know, on that trip specifically, where I bought an air fryer for like the first half of it in Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. And yeah, I was just cooking up chicken in that thing every day with like a bunch of seasoning and a bunch of shit, and it was just comes out juicy every time. It was perfect, dude. Didn't have to wait like 5-6 minutes to heat the oven up and like just heat up your whole house afterwards, you know. Like I know how that shit is. Like, yo, I used to literally heat my house with an oven and like a salamander when I was a kid, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I didn't want to use all that electricity on an oven.
Yeah.
Figured the air fryer was the best way to go, you know.
Okay. Yeah, so you're due to another visit at his ranch.
Yeah, yo, I need to go to Seb's ranch ASAP. I mean, it's like a couple hours from Montreal though, so it's kind of out there, you know. It's like it's not really
Super accessible, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like,
quite a hike out there, yeah.
You go, you got to stay the night, you know.
Yeah.
But yo, he's got plenty of space, man, and he opens everybody with welcome arms. So definitely check him out if anyone's watching this and they're out in Montreal area and they want to check it out. Like,
They should hit him up. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's the best, dude. Seriously. Love that guy. We had some good. His dog was so sick too when I was there. He's the cutest pup, dude.
Okay, this one is from Kelly Hart. He said, "Who is a skateboarder that you'd love to see on S?"
Wes Kremer.
Oh,
Wes on S.
is that happening?
Wes on S. That's all I gotta say is that I want to see that.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't remember where, but I think I saw him skating with S's, so I can assume he's maybe getting on the team.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I mean, he's a Sodi, and he's an absolute legend. And I think it would be amazing to travel with him and to be able to spread the positivity and the hype that me and him have, at a level with S. Not only are we with Mathieu already, but I think it would be sick to have him on the team.
All right, this one is from Mike Lyon.
Yeah.
So he said, can you tell us a story from one of the best skate trips you've ever been on? Where was it? Who was there? What made it epic?
So many trips. There's so many trips, and there's just so many avenues I could go down right now. But let's just keep it to the Mexico story, because that one was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was just like all in all, like that whole experience of just like kicking it with a bunch of people that I just kind of met for like 24 hours in a cell, sharing a water bottle that was like, they filled up a big Sunny D bottle and filled it up with a hose and was passing it around to all the inmates that were in the jail, and like we all had to drink from the same bottle.
Oh, wow.
I didn't end up drinking any of it, but like there was some moments that I think I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was such a good trip.
Yeah, looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, it was so fun. We got a couple clips, don't get me wrong, we still were productive, but then we just had like the craziest trip on top of it, so I think that was like one of the most like memorable and like best trips I think I've ever been on.
All right, yeah, this one is an audio one.
What's up, Quentin and TJ? I hope all is well with you guys. First of all, I would like to thank TJ and Lando, along with Ryan Johnson and Jesse Pius, for coming out to the Cotton Jam last October for the Sabre Foundation in Corcoran, California. The community had a blast hanging out with you, and we're extremely grateful to you for headlining the event. I have a couple questions for TJ. The first, TJ, can you talk about what the mental battle was like in your early days when you were learning a new trick or taking a trick to a new obstacle? How is that process compared to now with your vast experience in skateboarding, specifically overcoming the fear aspect of skateboarding?
So,
did you recognize who that was?
Yeah, Vihar?
Vihar Patel, from the Sabre Foundation.
Vihar. Yeah, so Vihar, good guy. He reached out to me last year and wanted me to come out to Corcoran, his city, where he has a foundation and was hosting an event. He wanted me to come and like stoke out the kids and bring the hype. And I brought Lando with me, and he filmed like a full edit for the foundation, and we just again brought the hype for the community. I've been doing that a lot lately, and in terms of community outreaches, where I've been just going to different shops that reach out to me and want to help out. I just ask them to kind of order a certain minimum of my product, along with like if there's any expenses that I need to obtain to get there. If they can help me, and I'll come out there and we'll just hang out with the kids, and just jam. I think it's a very important piece that skateboarding used to do back in the day, but it's really hard to do nowadays with budgets that companies have. That I've been just trying to work from the roots and try and reach out to some of the people that support me the most, and try and do some good work for the community, because like I said before, teamwork makes the dream work, and I want everybody that I work with especially to know that we're all in this together, and I want to make sure that we're doing good work.
And he was asking you about the mental battle.
Going back to Veer's full question of like, how does it feel learning a trick back then to now?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It pretty much kind of breaks it down in a sense to where I feel like back in the day when I was learning tricks, it was so exciting, and it still is to this day exciting for me. I still get that same feeling and excitement of learning a new trick now that I did back in the day. It's like pure hype and enjoyment, like it's like, damn, I just worked so long to try and like get that trick, and what was the other part of that question? Because it was like a two-part, am I right?
Yeah, it was basically, how was that process compared to now with your vast experience in skateboarding, especially overcoming the fear aspect of skating?
Yeah, I feel like nowadays when I'm trying to go, try a new trick or skate a different obstacle that I'm not comfortable skating, I think I just try to break it down to where it's like I simplify it as best as possible in my brain, to where it's like just step by step, baby steps, I'll ollie it, I'll 180 it, or whatever the case may be, just to get comfortable, and then try the trick. Back in the day, it would be very similar to that too, I would like to think, but I just didn't really have that thought process towards it. I would just go with like turning off the switch and just keep going,
All right, I'll have you listen to the second question.
The second question is, what guidance could you give to the younger generation of skaters who are looking to come up in the skate world, given that the landscape is much different for a professional skateboarder in the modern era of skateboarding? Thank you both for your time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question to answer here, because there's just so many different lanes in skateboarding nowadays as well, that it's really hard to define like what you want, because you could also, there's some kids right now that are learning how to skate just to become a part of the Olympics. They think that they're just going to get all these sponsorships because they're part of the Olympics, but that's not necessarily how skateboarding is. Like skateboarding comes from the fundamentals of like kicking it with your friends and your crew and like skating and like, creating these shared experiences that, that you guys have together. It's a bond, it's a camaraderie. That's what skateboarding is. Everyone comes together collectively, and like it's okay if everyone doesn't connect and they all aren't, we're all not friends. Essentially we're all still friends, but like we're not like enemies,
tight.
We're just not tight, and it's like that's okay. But it's like everyone has a lane in skateboarding. It's just finding your lane and like doing it the way that you want to do it.
Finding your voice, kind of.
Just when I was a kid, like, I wanted to be a pro skateboarder, but like I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that defined, like, exactly, I just knew that I wanted to have my name on a board and I wanted to skate, So for me to like have my name on a board now for, going on 11 years, it's pretty surreal. And, my message is, as it's always been, is like never to give up. And then also just like, we all have our bad days, but not to let it discourage you along the way. We're all not perfect and we all make mistakes, but it's learning from those mistakes and trying to do better.
Keep pushing.
And like I said, don't get discouraged along the way, but also have the confidence in yourself and your skating to keep pushing forward. Because like the moment that you kind of give up on yourself is like, that's when you start getting old. And like that one saying goes, like, you don't get old because of skating, like you get old because you stop skating. Just got to stay young and just stay active and just, keep setting goals and challenges for yourself and like keep doing what you want to do, Definitely this interview has opened my eyes to a few different things already as well, that it's definitely a learning experience, even this interview, to be quite honest.
Okay, I have a final question from Mitch Donovan.
Holy shit.
So he has two things. He said, I'm curious to know how you manage to stay motivated when you're injured and taking time off the board. Even back in the day when working out was kind of frowned upon as a skater, you always seem to have the mindset of doing whatever it took to get back on the board. Always where I struggled, haha.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's every skater's, it goes back to like the answer that I just provided, kind of, a lot of skaters get discouraged and they hurt themselves, or they don't have the proper like guidance or mentorship or like people looking out for them to point them in the right directions, And I think like, some skaters, they have the God-given talent to do it, but without the right resources, it's hard, and I've always tried to like, fill that gap for people where like they could reach out to me, like I've always reached out I respond to everybody at my DMs, like anyone ever has a question to ask me.
Wow, to this day you do that still?
Still to this day, dude.
Wow.
And there is times where I won't respond for like a week maybe, or maybe two, but like, I respond to everybody when I have the time. And if people hit me up about workout shit, I'll send them links. Like, I hurt my ankle, like, this or that, like, I'll send them a link, like I'll tell them what to do, because again, like we're all in this together, man. Like I don't want to see somebody like struggling, but it's also like I can't read your mind. I can't read anybody's mind. I don't know that you need help. Nobody knows that you need help. So it's like until you reach out, or communicate that you need help on certain things, that's when like the progress really starts to happen, because you're embracing that you need help and you need to change in order to get to where you want to be. And I think like for me, I don't know, I was taught this from Weiss back in the days, to be the squeaky wheel that wants the grease, you know, like always to try and learn, you know, always try and ask questions and learn things, you know. And I've luckily been put in such great, amazing opportunities throughout my years of not only being injured, but I'm learning from them. So I have all this information to educate not only myself, but my friends and anybody else that needs it, you know, like, because I just want to make sure that everyone knows, like, that they can be helped, you know. And like, to be straight up too, like, nowadays it's so much easier. Like, you don't have to hit me up. Go on YouTube and search what's wrong with you. Like, dude, it's not that hard, you know what I'm saying? But to have that reassurance of knowing that someone's there, like, okay, yeah, like, I try to do that for especially my good homies, you know. It's just something that I've always tried to do.
That's cool. I appreciate that you respond to all your DMs, because I don't think this interview would be happening if you hadn't responded to my first DMs to you a while back. And I think it's cool that you still do that, because I can assume you get many, and you have a busy life, and you could definitely just let them slide. And
well, no, it's like everybody does, you know. It's not, I don't think everyone responds, because I get that all the time. They're like, what the fuck, you responded? And it's like, for me, it's like, this is my job. I'm a pro skateboarder, you know, like, supposed to be active on social media and, you know, like,
yeah, it's part of it.
It's like,
sure.
Yeah, like, you see your DMs filling up. Don't get anxiety or overwhelmed that you have fucking 20 or 50 or 100. Finish them. You'll feel better about it at the end of the day.
No, and I think all the people you do respond to must feel they feel seen, you know, like it must feel. I mean, I know that I felt good when you responded to me, and I'm sure a lot of, you know, just kids that are coming up and that look up to you, and if they write to you for advice or whatever, just say, I don't know, thumbs up on a clip or whatever it is.
They send me clips.
I'm sure they appreciate that you respond.
They'll send me clips. They'll ask me how to do tricks. I send them trick tips. You know, some homies will ask me about like health things. There's so many people that hit me up on just different level things, and like I said, depending on like how deep that message is, sometimes like depending on how I'm feeling, I'll respond right away. Sometimes if I want to like answer that thoroughly, it'll take me a little bit longer, but it's because I care, and I obviously like want to respond in a certain manner, you know. I don't want it to come off unprofessional, or in a sense to where it's like it's not coming from the heart, you know.
So Mitch asked a second question. It was he just wanted to ask you what it feels like to have a pro model shoe coming out for a brand like S after all these years and after their comeback. And he also said, it was my first shoe sponsor, and it's surreal to see someone I grew up skating with have their own shoe for them.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy, you know. It's very surreal in so many ways for me as well, because, you know, even when we were kids, Mitch was on S, but I was on Circa.
Way back.
You know? But yeah, no, the shoe drops August 15th. I'm super excited for it. I got 2 colorways dropping for the first drop, and then next season in holiday I got another one dropping. It's going to be a collab with Movember, which is a cancer nonprofit.
Right.
And yeah, I'm very excited, man. And on top of it, I just like to thank not only Don Brown, but Kelly Hart and Leighton and all the Nideckers and everybody for everybody for the support and the opportunity to get this. I already know not everyone gets this opportunity as a pro skateboarder, because, you know, everyone always dreams to get their board, you know, like their name on a board. But then even to like get a tech deck, you know, that's pretty surreal. But then, you know, to get a shoe, it's like kind of like a Michael Jordan. It's so surreal. It's like a statement, you know, it's something, you know, where it needs to be told a big story. And I'm just very grateful again for this opportunity. And, you know, I'm going to wear it with pride and try to not let anyone down and keep moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's well fucking deserved, man. You deserve that shoe.
I appreciate it. You know, I'm trying my best, and, you know, I'm very grateful, like I said, for all the opportunities and everything that I have been given over the years. It's definitely been a learning curve throughout the years, but, you know, I'm just grateful, and I'm definitely want to make sure that I try to do the best that I can. And thanks again to everybody over the years that has supported me as well. You know, there's a huge, heavy list of people that I don't want to get into it right now, but know that you're not forgotten, and I'm very grateful for each and every one of you that has helped me along my way, and just thank you for everything.
And so the shoe, is it did you work on the design, I assume? Like, can you tell us a little bit about what it's going to look like, kind of? Is it based on some previous, shoe models that S has put out throughout the years, or is it something completely new? What can we expect, kind of?
So I mean, my shoe drops in August 15th this year. It's definitely like an ode to the old school era of S back in the day. It has a lot of inspiration from a bunch of different shoes from like the early 2000s when I started skating, from like the Eric Costin to the Silo to the Cradle as well. There's so many. And I'm just super stoked, man. Honestly, it's going to be a good one, and I'm really looking forward for everybody to see it. Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Sick.
Yeah, like I get sometimes like emotional even trying to think about it, because like I said, like when you try to get on when you're on a shoe company, you don't really ever think that you're going to get your own pro shoe, like sometimes you'll get a colorway maybe, or like, you're just on the team, whatever, but like to kind of get your own shoe, that's a staple, and it means something, and it's like, I'm grateful, and I'm just going to keep moving forward and, wear it with pride and, just keep doing my thing as I always do.
Yeah, that's kind of a question for me, just to wrap this up. But I was wondering, like, because as we just explored throughout our conversation, like you've pretty much checked out all of the boxes for a super successful skateboarding career. You've been pro for over 10 years. You're about to have your first pro model on S. You've been supported by Red Bull for a long time, and you've traveled all over the world. So I guess my question is just kind of what's another dream of yours that you would maybe want to, another thing you'd like to check, in the next few years? Are you kind of setting goals for yourself, things that you'd like to accomplish, or are you more like, I'm just going to skate and put out good video parts, have fun on my skateboard, and whatever happens, happens? Or do you have like more precise goals ahead of you, kind of?
I think what's next for me is unclear. Personally, I have a lot of different ideas that I really want to do and, act on. And, time will tell. I got a lot of things to look forward to with a lot of the sponsors that I have. And, I'm very grateful for everyone that I am working with. And, I'm going to keep pushing with my best foot forward each and every day. And, I just can't wait to see what this year has in store for me, especially after this shoe release.
Perfect. Well, that's a great way to wrap it up. Thank you so much, TJ.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for your time as well, and I appreciate the talks and the conversations. Like I said, you even throughout this conversation, you definitely opened my eyes to a few different things that I'm looking forward to my future as well right now, and just even this short little future. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All the best to you. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that S shoe.
Yeah, thanks, brother. You too, man.
That's it for my conversation with TJ. Follow him on Instagram @TJRogers. Treat yourself to all of his amazing video parts, and keep an eye out for his upcoming S Pro Model shoe coming out on August 15th, 2025. Thank you for tuning in. See you soon for a new episode of Beyond Board.